going to draw examples. And based on those examples, we're going to figure out how they compare, how they work together, if we can find missing pieces based on that information. Are we ready? Yay? Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is vertical angles. Now, what does the word vertical mean? Up and down. Okay. And what is an angle? Where two rays meet. So if it's vertical angles, what do you think would happen? They meet. Okay. I'm just asking you to explain vertical angles. That was the question. So it says two angles across from each other on intersecting lines. So please show me with your arms what two lines would look like if they intersect. Look at us go. That creates vertical angles. So I would like you to please draw a line. And then we're going to draw another where they intersect. This makes vertical angles. And what is the last part that it says in our box? They are always what? Highlight that, circle it, heart it, baby Jesus it, squiggle it, something, because that is very important. Always, always, always congruent. What does the word congruent mean? Same size and shape. They're equal. So if it's an angle, they have the same what? Look at you go. Take a point. So if this is X and this is 90. Now, they are across from each other. These two right here are vertical angles. That means that this matches this. Is everybody with me? So what would X equal? 93. That's it. That's all you do. That's literally all you do. So what about these two? This one is congruent to this one. Now, do you notice that I put, I should have done that in a different color. Let me do it in blue. How do you know that, Pumpkin?
I don't know. I'm just smart.
No, I want you to tell me how you know.
I think I went in the 8th grade.
You did, and I want you to tell me how you know that that angle with the double arc would be 90.
Because one line equals 80, and that...
One line equals...
180.
There you go.
So one side's 90, so the other side's 90.
I'm so proud of you. Take a point. So what she said was, this missing angle with the two arcs would be 90, and this one over here would be 90. Now, what if I changed this to an 80? What would this X equal? What would our top line equal? 100. Because a line makes what type of degree? 180. Does anybody have any questions on vertical angles? Now, these two are vertical angles, and these two are vertical angles. So they're across from each other. They share an endpoint. Does everybody understand? Okay. Now, let's talk about adjacent angles. I want to do that next. Adjacent angles. What is the definition for adjacent, say? So they are next to each other, right? Would that be if I drew... Ignore? Okay. I can cover it up. The chaos that people write on my note cards. That's an angle. And that's an angle. They're next to each other, but are they adjacent?
No.
Why?
Because they're the same side.
They don't have a common side, right? So this says that they have to share a common side. That means that they share a common ray. So underline that. Heart it, baby. Jesus it. Something. It would look like, all right, so if I have an angle here, right, and adjacent would be, let's put dots on this and label it. So A, B, C, D. Angle ABC is adjacent to angle CBD. Because they share what common ray? No. What common ray do they... BC. Y'all, it's... It's this angle right here, correct? Okay. And then it's this angle right here, correct? Now, what common, does that help in the colors? What common ray do they share? BC. Hallelujah. Take a point. Any questions so far? Now, those are not congruent. It would have to tell you the measure of the whole thing or the separate parts for you to figure out what the big angle is. Do we, at the moment, know what ABC is? What the measure of ABC is?
No.
What about DBC? What if I told you, don't write this down, I just want you to look for a moment. What if I told you that ABC was 55 degrees and CBD was 20 degrees? Could you find the measure for ABD?
Yes.
What would it be?
75. 75.
75. You just add them together. That's it. That's all you do with angles. Isn't it crazy? Yay. All right, linear pair. What does the word linear mean?
Same line.
A line. Look at us go. What does collinear mean? Same line, yes. All right, so a linear pair are two angles that are adjacent and supplementary. Do we know what supplementary is? I guess I should have defined that first. Isn't that on the bottom down there?
The sum of the angles is 180.
Look at you go. Take a point. So, they form a straight line. Well, all lines are straight, but we'll give them that one. So this is what it looks like. We have angle 1, angle 2. These two make a linear pair. That's it. So if I said that the measure of angle 1 was 115, what would the measure of angle 2 have to be?
75.
How'd you get that?
Because 180 minus, minus whatever the first one was.
How do you know that it's 180?
Because it's a straight line.
Look at you go. Take a point. Now, Heather, I love your enthusiasm, but can you give someone else a chance?
Okay.
Thanks. Though, I do love your enthusiasm. I do. I just want someone else to be able to answer as well, in case they're trying, but they're not as fast as you.
Heather's just so smart. That's I
All right, do we have any questions on our first three? Are we sure? Okay, so let's look at complementary angles. It says any two angles whose sum is 90. And it says any two angles. So does that mean that they have to be adjacent?
No.
No, it's any two angles. So if I had an angle here, and I had another angle here, and I said that this was 55 degrees, and this was 35 degrees. Those two are complementary because you add them together and you get 90 degrees. Because sum means add, right? That's it. That's all you do. Isn't it magic? So, thank you for the sing-along, children. What if I said that this one was 75? What would the other one have to be?
15.
Why?
With 70.
75 equals 15 is 90.
Take a point, both of you. Alright, can y'all let someone else answer now? What if I told you that this one was 85? What would the other angle have to be?
I said 60.
85. It's okay, no judgment. If I told you it was 85, the other one would have to be? Why? Because it's got to equal 90. Take a point. What if I told you that one of them was 92? Would that be possible?
No.
No, because their sum has to equal 90. So you can't have one that's what?
Negative 2.
Starts with O.
0.
Of twos! Take a point.
Why
So-
do people say 0 whenever you say it starts with an O?
I don't really know. But complementary angles, they can't be obtuse. They both have to be acute. So let's write that. Both have to be acute. And why do you think that they have to be acute?
Anything
Look
over
at us
90.
go. So if complementary angles are 90 degrees, what would supplementary angles be?
180.
And do they have to be adjacent?
No.
Because it says any two angles. So it could be a linear pair, like this one, or it could just be any two angles that make 180 degrees. So if I drew an angle like this, and then I drew another, what is my other angle going to have to be? If this one's obtuse, what does the other one have to be? Acute. And I said that this was 123 degrees. What would the other angle have to be?
57.
Why?
180.
Look at you go. Take a point. 57 degrees. Because you just add them together and you get 180. So does one of them have to be obtuse on this? Or they could both be
Right.
right angles. Awesome. So you can have two right angles. That's this. Ooh, I need to scoot it over. Super sorry. That's the symbol for angles. Or one obtuse and one what? Take a point. Alright, so vertical angles are take a point. Adjacent angles are take a point. Linear pair. Mutter, 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 mutter. Take a point. Now, are adjacent angles congruent? They just share common sides. They could be, but they just pardon? They could be congruent, but they just share a common side, right? Cameron, are you with us or are you sleeping? Okay. What about a linear pair?
They are adjacent.
And supplementary, so that's very important. Both of you take a point. They have to be adjacent and supplementary. Why do linear pairs have to be adjacent and supplementary?
Because they form a straight line.
Take a point, because they form a straight line. Alright, and what? Potatoes. What about, tell me one fun fact about complementary angles, Thomas. Do what? Tell me a fun fact about complementary angles. What? Look at your definition that you just wrote down for complementary angles. Yeah, look at you go. Take a point. Curtis, can you tell me another fun fact? I honestly don't know what words you're saying. What?
They can have two acute angles.
Two acute angles. Yes. Okay, take a point. All right. Hufflepuff. Can somebody over there at Hufflepuff tell me one fun fact about supplementary angles? Logan? The sum has to equal 180. What's another fun fact? Hufflepuff. Take a point. It can be an acute and obtuse angle. Awesome. Take a point. What's another fun fact, Slytherin? About supplementary angles. We said that?
Their sum is 180.
We said that? It can have two right angles. Take a point. And do complementary and supplementary have to be adjacent?
No.
Do vertical angles have to be near each other? They're across from each other, right? It has to make an X for them to be vertical. Do adjacent angles have to touch? What about linear pairs? Alright, let's not sound like zombies. Let's look at this one.
Yay!
Yay! Error analysis. What do you think error analysis is?
Analyze the
Body
error.
error.
Do you think this is level 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
We're just strategically thinking. We're not extending our thinking yet. So, each of the problems below was solved incorrectly. For each problem, circle the mistake, circle the mistake, circle the mistake, explain what the mistake is, and find the correct answer. Circle the mistake. Explain what the mistake is. Find the correct answer. So let's look at number 1. What kind of angles are these? Is it vertical, linear, okay, vertical. And what do we know about vertical angles? They're the same. They're congruent. What did they do? Heather?
It should be 100, but 5 times 16 doesn't equal 100. Never mind, does it?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not... Yes, but that's not what I'm trying to get from you. Okay, Travis?
They added the congruent instead of
And
they 5x is equal to 100, but they added 5x and 100.
yes, thank you. Take a point. They added these two together and set it equal to 180 when they should have set them equal to each other. So how would we explain that? They added instead of...
Subtract. Set them equal.
Look at you go. All right, so they added instead of setting them equal. All right, so how would we correct this?
5x
Cameron, you're not writing.
5x equals 100.
Okay?
And you divide 5.
And x equals?
20.
Dun dun dun. Can you work out the others without me?
Probably.
Go. Talk to your group, work it out, figure out what they did. Go. And do you have to circle the mistake?
Yes.
Do you have to explain the mistake?
Yes.
Do you have to correct the mistake?
Yes.
Do it. I didn't mean to sound so forceful on the do it, but